It all started on a crisp autumn morning when the sunlight streamed through the dusty windows of Alex's newly rented photo studio. Alex had been saving for years to open this space, a converted warehouse with exposed brick walls and beautiful natural light that photographers dream about. The kind of place where creativity feels tangible in the air. Alex was a 28-year-old photographer who had spent the last decade behind the lens, capturing everything from weddings to wildlife. But portrait photography was where his heart truly belonged. There was something magical about freezing a moment of human emotion, preserving it forever in a single frame. On this particular morning, Alex wasn't alone. Jordan, his best friend of nearly 7 years, had volunteered to help set up the space. Jordan had always been there, from the days when Alex was still shooting with a second-hand DSLR in local parks, to now, as he prepared to launch his own studio. Their friendship had formed instantly during a community college photography class, where Jordan's eye for composition complemented Alex's technical skills perfectly. Though Jordan had pursued graphic design professionally, photography remained their shared passion, the invisible thread that had kept them connected through the years. Let me tell you about the studio itself, because it matters to understand the setting where everything changed. The space was modest but full of potential, about 1,200 square feet with those gorgeous industrial windows along one wall. Alex had painted the opposite wall a clean matte white for portrait backgrounds. There were exposed pipes running along the ceiling, which Alex had wrapped with string lights to create a warm ambience when the natural light faded. In one corner stood an old leather couch, salvaged from a thrift store, perfect for clients to relax on during shoots. The polished concrete floor bore the scars of its industrial past, each crack and stain telling a story of what came before. This wasn't just a workplace for Alex, it represented years of dreams finally taking physical form. "I still can't believe this is really happening," Alex said, running a hand through his dark curly hair as he surveyed the space. "My own studio. Sometimes I think I'm going to wake up and find out it was all a dream." Jordan smiled, that warm smile that always seemed to reach all the way to those hazel eyes. "You earned this, Alex. Nobody worked harder or wanted it more." Jordan was arranging a collection of vintage cameras on a shelf, a decorative touch that celebrated the history of the craft they both loved. I should mention that photography wasn't just a career for Alex, it was the language through which he made sense of the world. Growing up in a household where words were often weaponized during his parents' frequent arguments, Alex had found solace in images. The camera became his shield, his interpreter, and eventually his voice. Through photography, he could express all the things he struggled to say aloud, including the growing feelings he had developed for Jordan over the years. Feelings he had carefully kept hidden, fearing the risk to their friendship was too great. The morning progressed with the two of them unpacking equipment, arranging furniture, and debating the perfect placement for lighting stands. Their easy rapport filled the space with laughter and comfortable silence in equal measure. This was how it had always been between them, effortless, like two instruments perfectly in tune. "So," Jordan said, perching on the arm of the leather couch, "when does your new camera arrive? The one you wouldn't stop talking about for the past 3 months." Alex's face lit up immediately. "Actually, it should be here any." The doorbell interrupted him mid-sentence, and his eyes widened. "That might be it now. Let me explain why this camera was so significant. For photographers, equipment isn't just tools, it's an extension of their artistic vision. Alex had been shooting with the same camera for 6 years, pushing it to its limits, working around its shortcomings. This new camera, a top-of-the-line mirrorless with incredible low-light capabilities and resolution that could capture every eyelash and pore, represented not just an upgrade in technology, but a statement about Alex's professional evolution. He had delayed buying new lenses, skipped vacations, and taken on extra weekend gigs to afford it. This wasn't an impulse purchase, it was the culmination of years of sacrifice. Alex practically ran to the door, returning moments later cradling a box like it contained a newborn child. Jordan couldn't help but laugh at the reverence on Alex's face. "You know it's not actually alive, right?" Jordan teased, but moved closer to share in the unboxing ceremony. "Respect the process," Alex replied with mock seriousness. "This is a sacred moment between a photographer and their new camera." As Alex carefully removed layers of packaging, the sleek black camera body emerged, nestled in protective foam. He lifted it with gentle hands, feeling the weight, running his fingers over the dials and buttons. There's something profoundly intimate about holding a new camera for the first time, learning its contours, understanding its capabilities, imagining all the moments it will help you capture. "It's beautiful," Jordan said softly, watching Alex's expression of pure joy. "Want to know the best part? Alex asked, already attaching the 85mm portrait lens he'd purchased separately. This has an incredible silent shutter. You can take photos without that mechanical click. It's perfect for candid moments, when you don't want people to know you're shooting. Jordan raised an eyebrow. So you're planning to become a spy photographer now? No. Alex laughed. But you know how people change when they hear the shutter. That split second where their expression shifts from genuine to posed. This eliminates that. I can capture the real moment. The real moment? Those words would take on new meaning before the day was through, but neither of them knew it yet. Alex spent the next hour familiarizing himself with the camera's settings, adjusting parameters, testing different functions. Jordan patiently helped, holding light reflectors, moving objects for test shots, and offering opinions on the results. This was their normal, supporting each other's creative pursuits without question or complaint. I need to test it on a person, Alex finally declared. The still life shots are great, but this is a portrait camera. I need to see how it handles skin tones, depth of field with a human subject. Well, I'm the only human available at the moment, Jordan replied with a shrug. Unless you want to run out and grab a stranger off the street. Alex hesitated for just a moment. Photographing Jordan had always been both a pleasure and a form of sweet torture. Jordan was naturally photogenic, with features that caught the light in ways that made Alex's photographer heart race. But peering through the viewfinder at someone you secretly desire creates a peculiar intimacy. You notice everything, from the curve of their lips to the exact shade of their eyes, details that haunted Alex's dreams. You sure you don't mind? Alex asked, already adjusting the camera settings. When have I ever minded being your guinea pig? Jordan responded, moving toward the white wall. Where do you want me? Alex considered the light coming through the windows. Actually, let's use the brick wall. The texture will be a good test for the detail this camera can capture. Jordan moved to the spot Alex indicated, standing somewhat stiffly against the weathered bricks. This was the awkward beginning of every portrait session, that moment before the subject relaxes, when they're still too aware of the camera, too concerned with how they look. Relax, Alex instructed gently, lifting the camera. Just be yourself. Pretend I'm not even here. That's literally impossible, Jordan laughed, but the sound helped release some tension. You're standing 3 feet away pointing a camera at my face. Alex smiled behind the camera. Tell me about your latest design project. The one for the environmental nonprofit. This was Alex's technique. Get subjects talking about something they care about, and they forget about the camera. As Jordan began describing the rebranding work for the conservation group, Alex started shooting. The silent shutter meant Jordan couldn't tell exactly when photos were being taken, which created a more natural flow to the session. Through the viewfinder, Alex watched Jordan's face come alive with passion while discussing the project. The way those hands moved expressively, how those eyes brightened when explaining a particularly clever design solution. Alex captured it all, marveling at the camera's ability to render every detail, the texture of Jordan's sweater, the subtle variations in the brick wall behind, the exact color of those hazel eyes that shifted between green and gold depending on the light. These are incredible, Alex murmured, reviewing some of the images on the camera's display. The detail is unbelievable. Come see. Jordan moved beside Alex to look at the display, their shoulders touching lightly. Alex was acutely aware of the contact, the subtle warmth radiating between them. Jordan smelled like sandalwood and coffee, a scent Alex had come to associate with comfort and longing in equal measure. Wow, Jordan said, genuinely impressed. You make me look good. The camera just captures what's already there, Alex replied, the words coming out softer than intended. Their eyes met over the camera display, and something shifted in the air between them. A charged moment of recognition, perhaps, or just wishful thinking on Alex's part. Either way, it passed quickly as Jordan stepped back. We should try some different lighting setups, Jordan suggested. Really put this thing through its paces. The next hour flew by as they experimented with various lighting arrangements. Alex set up a key light with a softbox, adding a rim light to create separation between Jordan and the background. They tried dramatic side lighting that carved shadows across Jordan's features, then switched to soft, diffused lighting that wrapped around the contours of that face like a caress. Throughout it all, their usual banter continued, but Alex sensed something different in the air. The playfulness had an edge to it now, a current of awareness that hadn't been there before. Or perhaps it had always been there, and Alex was only now allowing himself to acknowledge it. Let's try something different, Jordan suggested after they'd exhausted the standard portrait setups. What about movement? Test how it handles motion. Good idea, Alex agreed. Maybe try walking toward the camera? I can test the tracking focus. Jordan nodded and moved to the far end of the studio. Alex adjusted the camera settings for continuous autofocus and began shooting as Jordan walked forward. The camera performed beautifully, maintaining sharp focus on those eyes even as the distance between them decreased. "It's holding focus perfectly," Alex said, still shooting. "Keep coming." Jordan continued walking, but then did something unexpected, striking model poses with each step, exaggerating runway walks and magazine poses. It was silly and charming, and so typically Jordan, using humor to diffuse tension. Alex couldn't help but laugh, still capturing every ridiculous pose. "You're a natural. Should I be worried you'll leave graphic design for a modeling career?" "Definitely," Jordan replied with an exaggerated hair flip. "I expect to be on the cover of Vogue by next month." The playfulness broke whatever tension had been building, returning them to their comfortable dynamic. This was why their friendship worked so well. They knew how to pull back from the edge when things got too intense, how to restore equilibrium with laughter. "Let's try one more setup," Alex suggested, lowering the camera. "I want to test the low-light capabilities." Alex dimmed the studio lights and adjusted the camera settings again. The golden hour sunlight was fading outside, casting long shadows through the windows. It created a moody, intimate atmosphere in the studio. "Where do you want me?" Jordan asked, voice slightly quieter now, matching the subdued lighting. "The couch," Alex decided. "Just sit naturally, like you're relaxing at the end of the day." Jordan settled onto the leather couch, leaning back against the worn cushions. There was something vulnerable about the pose, less performative than the previous setups. This was Jordan as Alex often saw in private moments, when the public persona slipped away. Alex began shooting again, moving around to capture different angles. The camera's ability to gather light was remarkable, rendering Jordan in the dim studio with perfect clarity. The soft, directional light from the windows sculpted those features in ways that made Alex's breath catch. "These are incredible," Alex said, reviewing the images. "The detail it captures even in low light. I can see the different colors in your eyes." Jordan smiled at that. "Let me see." Alex moved to the couch, sitting down next to Jordan to share the camera display. Their thighs pressed together as they both leaned in to view the small screen. Alex scrolled through the images, acutely aware of how close they were sitting, how Jordan's breath felt warm against his cheek. "You have a gift," Jordan said softly, looking at the photos. "These aren't just technically good. They show something real." Alex turned slightly, their faces now inches apart. "What do they show?" Jordan met his gaze, those hazel eyes searching his. "Me. The real me. The way you see me." The air between them seemed to thicken, charged with years of unspoken feelings. Alex's heart hammered in his chest, and he wondered if Jordan could hear it in the quiet studio. "And how do I see you?" Alex asked, barely above a whisper. Instead of answering with words, Jordan closed the small distance between them. The kiss was gentle at first, questioning, giving Alex every opportunity to pull away. But pulling away was the furthest thing from Alex's mind as he responded, the camera momentarily forgotten in his lap. I need to describe this moment carefully, because it wasn't just a kiss. It was a conversation they'd been avoiding for years, suddenly happening all at once. It was soft and tentative at first, both of them testing this new territory. Then, as the initial shock faded, it deepened into something more certain. Jordan's hand came up to rest against Alex's cheek, and Alex leaned into the touch, years of longing finally finding expression. The kiss might have lasted seconds or minutes. Time seemed to suspend in the golden light of the fading day. When they finally pulled apart, both slightly breathless, they stared at each other with matching expressions of wonder and uncertainty. Then Alex remembered the camera in his lap. The camera with the silent shutter. The camera that had been in continuous shooting mode when Jordan leaned in. "Oh," Alex said, looking down at the device. "What?" Jordan asked, voice slightly rough. Alex checked the display and started laughing softly. "It seems the first shots with my new camera are us kissing." Jordan's eyes widened, then crinkled with amusement. "Let me see." Alex handed over the camera, watching as Jordan scrolled through the accidental sequence. The images captured everything. The moment of decision in Jordan's eyes, the slight parting of lips, the gentle press of mouths meeting, the way Alex's eyelashes fluttered closed. It was intimate and authentic and beautiful in a way staged photos never could be. "I should be embarrassed," Jordan said, still looking at the images. "But they're actually really beautiful." "They are," Alex agreed softly. Jordan looked up from the display, meeting Alex's eyes again. "So, that happened." Alex nodded, suddenly uncertain. "It did. Are you okay with that?" Am I okay with the fact that I just kissed my best friend? Or am I okay with the fact that you accidentally documented it for posterity? Jordan asked with a small smile. Both, I guess, Alex replied, heart still racing. Jordan set the camera carefully on the coffee table, then turned back to Alex. I've wanted to do that for approximately 3 years, for months, and an indeterminate number of days. So yes, I'm very okay with it. Alex felt a wave of emotion crash over him. Relief, joy, disbelief. 3 years? Why didn't you say something? Why didn't you? Jordan countered gently. And there it was, the fear that had kept them both silent. The fear of risking a friendship that meant everything. The fear of misreading signals and making things awkward. The fear of change, even when that change might bring something wonderful. I was afraid, Alex admitted. You're the most important person in my life. I couldn't bear the thought of losing you. Jordan reached for Alex's hand, intertwining their fingers. You couldn't lose me if you tried. But I understand. I felt the same way. They sat in silence for a moment, adjusting to this new reality where their feelings were suddenly out in the open. The studio around them seemed different somehow, as if the space itself had transformed along with their relationship. So what happens now? Alex finally asked. Jordan considered the question. Well, professionally speaking, you continue setting up your amazing new studio and taking incredible photos with your fancy new camera. And personally speaking? Alex pressed, needing to hear it explicitly. Personally speaking, Jordan said, squeezing his hand, I think we go on a proper date. One where you're not hiding behind a camera and I'm not pretending I don't notice you staring at me when you think I'm not looking. Alex felt his cheeks warm. Was I that obvious? To everyone except yourself, apparently, Jordan teased. Remember Mia's birthday party last year? She texted me the next day asking if we'd finally sorted ourselves out because, and I quote, the sexual tension was making it hard to enjoy my cake. Alex groaned, covering his face with his free hand. I had no idea we were so transparent. Only to people who know us well, Jordan assured him. And speaking of knowing each other well. Jordan leaned forward, pressing another soft kiss to Alex's lips. I think we have some catching up to do. The second kiss was different, more confident, less tentative. Alex's hand found its way to Jordan's waist, pulling them closer together on the couch. The last rays of sunlight streamed through the windows, bathing them in golden light that seemed fitting for this new beginning. When they separated again, Alex couldn't help but reach for the camera. May I? He asked, gesturing with the device. Jordan nodded, understanding without needing explanation. This was Alex's language, after all, capturing moments that mattered. And no moment had ever mattered more than this one. Alex lifted the camera, focusing on Jordan's face, those slightly flushed cheeks, lips reddened from kissing, eyes bright with emotion. He took several shots, trying to preserve exactly how Jordan looked in this moment of newfound honesty between them. Now you, Jordan said, gently taking the camera from Alex's hands. Your turn to be on the other side of the lens. Alex rarely allowed himself to be photographed, a common trait among photographers who prefer to observe rather than be observed. But he surrendered to it now, letting Jordan capture him in this vulnerable, joyful state. We should take one together, Jordan suggested after a few shots. To commemorate the day, Alex set up the camera on a tripod, programming it for delayed shooting. They positioned themselves on the couch, sides pressed together, faces close. The camera captured them looking at each other rather than at the lens, a more truthful representation of the moment than any posed shot could be. As the evening deepened around them, they remained on the couch, talking with a new openness. All the things they carefully avoided saying over the years came pouring out. When feelings had first developed, moments of almost confessions, the small jealousies when either dated someone else. Remember when you were seeing that musician last year? Jordan asked. The one with the vintage motorcycle and the perfect hair? Alex nodded. Ethan. I hated him, Jordan admitted with a small laugh. Not because he was a bad person. He seemed perfectly nice. I hated him because he got to kiss you, and I didn't. If it makes you feel any better, Alex replied, it didn't last because I kept comparing him to you. He could tell I wasn't fully present. They ordered takeout as night fell completely, eating pad thai on the studio floor surrounded by photography equipment and the comfortable mess of a day's creative work. There was something magical about sharing this first meal as more than friends in the space that represented Alex's dreams. I was thinking, Jordan said, twirling noodles around a plastic fork, about your first official photo shoot in this space. What about it? Alex asked. What if we did something special? A themed shoot celebrating different kinds of love. Not just romantic couples, but all relationships, siblings, parents and children, friends, chosen family. We could create a gallery showing for your studio opening. Alex felt his heart expand at the suggestion, so perfectly aligned with his own values and artistic vision. This was why they worked so well together, why their connection ran so deep. Jordan didn't just support his dreams. Jordan understood them, enhanced them. That's brilliant, Alex said. We could reach out to different communities, make it diverse and representative. Show love in all its forms. And, Jordan added with a small smile, we could include our own photo. Our first S, whatever we are now. What are we now? Alex asked, needing to hear the definition spoken aloud. Jordan set down the takeout container and moved closer, taking both of Alex's hands. We're what we've always been. Best friends who understand each other completely. But now we're also two people who are finally brave enough to admit they're in love. The word hung in the air between them. Love. Such a simple word for such a complex emotion. But it fit, Alex realized. It had always fit. I do love you, Alex confirmed, the words feeling both monumental and completely natural. I think I have for a very long time. I love you too, Jordan replied. And I can't wait to see where this goes. They stayed in the studio late into the night, planning the love-themed photo shoot, reviewing the day's images, and learning the new geography of their relationship. When they finally left, walking hand in hand to the parking lot, the studio locked behind them, Alex felt a profound sense of rightness. The next morning, when Alex downloaded the images from the camera to his computer, he created a special folder for the accidental kiss sequence. These wouldn't be part of any professional portfolio or gallery showing. These were just for them, the unplanned beginning of something beautiful, captured forever by a silent shutter in the golden light of a new studio. As the weeks passed, their relationship deepened alongside Alex's growing photography business. The love-themed gallery opening was a success, drawing diverse clients to the studio and establishing Alex's reputation in the community. And yes, among the dozens of portraits displaying love in all its forms hung one special image, Alex and Jordan, not looking at the camera but at each other, their connection palpable even in a two-dimensional print. Sometimes the most meaningful moments in life happen when we least expect them, when we're testing a new camera, when we're helping a friend set up a studio, when we finally find the courage to cross the small but significant distance between friendship and love. For Alex and Jordan, that courage changed everything, transforming not just their relationship but how they saw themselves and their future. And it all began with an accidental photo, the first shots with a new camera capturing a first kiss that had been years in the making. Total_char_count, 26,581.